What's up, y'all? Welcome to patch 25.09 for dummies. We are getting into our first patch of the new season 2 of 2025. Let's go over it together. Welcome to season 2, where we go to IONIA just in time for the Spirit Blossom Festival. We've got lots to celebrate this patch, so make sure to read the full patch notes for all the details. That's what I'm doing right now. We have quite a few bigger changes coming to this patch, like a new Spirit Blossom map, which looks prettier, Thornbound Atakhan, which I don't know, changes to the Void objectives, thank you, improved soft inting detection, we'll see if that works, a brand new batch of Spirit Blossom skins, a new battle pass, boo, and much more. When it comes to the gameplay side of things, we'll be shipping a few quality of life improvements to systems like bounties, thank God, switching roles and champion select, I don't really care about that. Your gray screen, okay, we'll see if they can finally tell me what killed me, and not to mention updates to make Rod of Ages, Boot of Swiftness, and Symbiotic Souls less dominant, bringing up unflinching, upgrading feet boots, and ignite, plus the normal array of live champion balance. Okay, so it seems like with this patch, they are doing like a mini preseason. They're making some radical changes to the map while also doing some champion tuning and taking down things that were meta in the last season. Meta items, of course, being the Rod of Ages, the Symbiotic Souls with the quick recall, and Boots of Swiftness when you get feats. So let's see how they accomplish this and if it's actually going to shake things up, because I'm ready for something to get shaken up. Sorry, my cat just got in my lap. All right, so we'll skip over the patch highlights because those are spoilers, and right away let's look at the new Summoner's Rift, and we see it's green and blue and pretty. It's got pink trees and purple trees on the blue and red side. It's got beautiful bushes. Everything looks great. No more dusty, crusty orange, red, brown old Summoner's Rift. We have beautiful Summoner's Rift and we are very happy for it. Yay, I like this. It'll take a little bit to get used to. So season 2 act 1 battle pass, yay! Battle pass rewards. We have the Ivern skin, which is uncanny, the Twitch skin, which he isn't in a swimsuit, so I don't understand, and this champion who I don't even recognize from the splash art, so I'll have to see it later. And then we have some emotes, which I guess are kind of cute, and then our 8 Hextech chests, which is of course what we're all here to get. Alongside our Spirit Blossom update, we also have a brand new seasonal battle pass. Check it out for loot like Spirit Blossom Ivern, Pool Party Twitch, and Prestige Spirit Blossom Lux. Oh my god, that's Lux. What? Okay, sure. I'm not reading through all these levels. New Atakhan, Thornbound Atakhan. Atakhan's been captured by the Black Rose, who are using him for some dark and mysterious purpose. On the new Spirit Blossom Rift, this means Atakhan now has a singular new Thornbound form in place of Season 1's Voracious and Ruinous, with a new reward for helping the spirits remove him from the rift. Just like before, Atakhan spawns on the side of the map which sees the most PvP action and causes Bloody Roses to spawn near kills and around his own pit. Unlike before, the team that slays Atakhan will get an immediate Bloody Petal bonus as well as all the remaining Bloody Roses left on the map, and it purifies them into Spirit Petals. Additionally, they gain the Spiritual Purification buff for the rest of the game. Okay, real quick before we go over the details, I really didn't like the split between Voracious and Ruinous. I thought that was pretty much just a pro play thing. Like, we really didn't see these two Atakhans on Summoner's Rift very much. Like, I would say I saw the Guardian Angel Atakhan buff less than 10 times over the course of season 1, and I probably played 300, 400 games, somewhere in that range. So extremely small representation, but for pro play lovers, that's cool. And Ruinous Atakhan was nice to get the petals and get experience, and then the passive buff for the minion, the passive buff that gave you a bonus to your dragons was cool too. But I'm excited to see what they do now. So the Voracious and Ruinous Atakhan are replaced with Thornbound. You get Spirit Petals, which cleansed Bloody Petals, which give 25% increased XP and Adaptive Force, and Spiritual Purification on takedown, bless the area around the target, slowing and damaging any other nearby enemies, as well as granting your team a Spirit Petal. So this is fantastic. Your Bloody Petals get turned into Spirit Petals, which are just better petals. So it's already snowballing an XP lead more than old Atakhan would, which it would give you a ton of XP. Like, I would say Atakhan gives your team on average like a level per person, which if you're ahead is big. And if you're behind was also big. So this is going to be like 1.25 levels, and then also all your petals in the future are going to be spirit petals as well. So that's really good. And then on top of that, you're getting the extra adaptive force. And on top of that, you now have this permanent, like almost like a Dragon Soul buff from Atakhan, where your takedowns are going to slow and damage people. So this is going to be insane for team fights. Consider this like a reset type of ability. Like you're gonna kill someone, and the next kill is going to come because they're gonna get slowed, and then the next kill is gonna and then the next kill is going to come, and then it's going to, it'll build upon itself. And this is going to be really, really great. So this objective, I think, is going to hop up in priority. In Season 1, I would see a lot of games where Atakhan would be alive while Baron was alive, and there's a 5-minute spawn difference between the two, and people would get Baron over Atakhan, and I would frequently have the decision of which one do we go for, and it would be Baron, and Atakhan would stay up, and then with the Baron buff, you would use that to take Atakhan. But Atakhan wasn't the highest priority, right? It was good, obviously it's powerful, but it wasn't like you must get this. If you're ahead, you took it. If you were even, you wouldn't risk it. Now, I feel like this is going to be contested a little bit more. I think this spiritual purification buff is a big enough impact, again, like a Dragon Soul buff, that I think it'll be contested. I imagine people are going to be much more wary about letting Atakhan just randomly fall. They're going to keep it warded. They're going to make sure they're around it, similar to how Baron kind of is. So expect to see Atakhan prioritized more. The bounty system I have been angry with for so long. I think bounties are awful for the game, implemented in an awful way for the game. I think bounties are healthy, but they are not good. I think bounties need to not power up strong champions. I don't like that you, as a 10-0 champion, go up against the enemy 10-0 champion, and you both have 1,000 gold shutdowns, and whichever one wins gets an extra 1,000 gold to scale them even further. I don't think that feels fun. On top of that, I think it's really, really tough to fight when you have that sort of shutdown. You have to play so carefully. If somebody gets a shutdown, you feel like you lose the game. So I would like to see the bounty system change so that the golden experience is distributed evenly. Let's see what they do. We're adjusting bounties this season to make them a more useful comeback mechanism. They are now more powerful for the losing team, can no longer hurt the losing team, and should more accurately reflect the game state. We're generally paying out more gold than before and cleaning up some rules and accuracy for fairness. To explain the shift in champion bounty suppression, currently in close games where one individual on each team is trying their hardest to carry, they could both get large bounties. This is what I was talking about. The first one to claim the shutdown surges far into the lead, which feels unfair, especially if one of them is playing a higher risk champion like a diver or assassin. Now, both of those champions will be worth the default kill gold until their team starts meaningfully winning. We're also delaying positive bounty accrual until after a champion leaves combat, as a one-for-one trade should so obviously benefit the one who died first by potentially giving away a shutdown. I love this. This is fantastic. This is amazing. Exactly what I wanted to see. Have it be based on your team's gold, not individual performance, because again, like I was saying, if you are winning one side of the map and losing the other side of the map and both have shutdowns, it doesn't feel good when you clash. It doesn't feel good when somebody picks up that extra shutdown and becomes so powerful in a position that they shouldn't be. So, good. Objective bounties. No longer pays up to 60% more gold based on the calculated lead. Now pays up to 10% of the gold difference on top of the base bounty payment, capped at 1,000 golds. And lesser objectives that have lower base bounty also have lower payouts. Okay, so they nerfed objective bounties for turrets. Sure. I think one of the biggest things you could do on objective bounties when you're that far behind is split push. For example, if Baron was spawning, you just send a few people mid and bottom and try to get like 2 outer towers and trade it for the Baron to get a little bit of gold. This nerfs that a little bit. I don't know how I feel about that. It's fine. The calculation, adjusted objective bounty calculation for accuracy gold leads are more important. Other objectives are less important. Okay, sure. And then champion bounty suppression. Still waits until 6 minutes in the game until champion bounty suppression is active. No longer suppresses bounties when a team is moderately behind. Now suppresses bounties unless a team is moderately ahead. Okay, I would like to know what they define as moderately. Is it like 1K, 2K, 5K? We'll see. Tuning. Base kill gold now scales up by 10 per level from 7 to 18. This is great. Positive bounty accrued from kills and assists has been increased by 17%. Positive bounty accrued from farming has been increased by 14%. Oh, well, that's interesting. You see a lot, like, a lot of times you'll be like 103, but you're farming a lot, and you have a bounty. You'll have a 150 gold bounty, a 200 gold bounty, and that feels a little frustrating. Now it'll be increased, but the bounty will only be present if your team is moderately ahead, which is this suppression mechanic and also what they were talking about early. So I think these are okay, given the system has taken your whole gold into account, but we'll see. Anyway, moving on. Void Epic Monsters. We're making a few changes to the pre-Baron Epic Monsters in the Void Pit to alleviate how demanding objectives are during early mid-game. The biggest change, we're removing one of the Void Grub encounters. Rewards and spawn times have been adjusted accordingly. In addition, we've done some quality of life work on the objectives and the rewards. Hopefully, the result is better pacing and less mental overhead from the Void Epics in your Summoner Rift game. So Void Grub's encounter spawn timer is now 8 minutes, and it does not respawn, and now grants Hunger of the Void, a single Void Might buff when you kill 3 Grubs rather than 4. Now grants feats credit to whichever team took 2 out of the 3 Grubs rather than requiring 3. And the dot from Touch of the Void now deals more damage at stacks 2 and 3. Very interesting. This is going to shake up jungle a lot. Right now, Void Grubs are a hotly contested early game objective where champions who are really good at taking Void Grubs thrive. We have a lot of these mage champions with Faded Ashes. We have Tiamat junglers. Anyone with AoE loves taking these, and it's supremely strong, and you will see supports roam for these constantly. This is going to change a lot. At 8 minutes, Dragon will have been on the map for 3 minutes. A lot more of the game will have occurred before Void Grubs. People will all be level 6. That's also a notable difference. I don't know how this is going to affect things. I think the jungle meta might shift towards heavier gank style junglers instead of farm style, but if they don't really change the XP of jungle, then maybe that won't happen, but we'll see. Anyway, Rift Herald, encounter. Encounter damage should be less avoidable, but the encounter should go faster, okay? So now it spawns at 15 minutes. Did it not spawn at 15 minutes? Oh, it spawned at like 18. Removed Herald's Gaze, the single target damage debuff. Nice. Target current HP bonus damage is 20%. Wow. Swipe 80 ratio is down though, and fixed non-champion attacks during the eyeball cooldown. Summoned pet, making quality of life changes to increase value consistency. So what? Base turret charge damage increase. Oh, this is just for the Herald. Base turret charge damage increase, but turret charge damage goes down for each tower it hits. Nice, that stops snowballing. Driving turn speed should be smoother and more responsive, especially early. Nice. When driving, if you crash near an enemy turret without hitting it, the Rift Herald will attempt to perform the non-driven turret charge attack if able. Cool. So that's good for people who suck at driving, like gay people. So Rift Herald is going to do more damage and be harder to take. There will still be champions who are really good at taking it. Naafiri is a prime example who does it like instantly. Yeah, interesting. It's going to do more damage to you, which makes it a little threatening. I guess right now, Rift Herald doesn't do damage functionally. So this is a pretty serious buff. 4 to 20% current HP bonus damage. You know, obviously that gets reduced by resistances and other things, but still nice. Cool to see it spawn at 15 minutes, a little bit earlier. Again, this is going to change the pacing of things too, but we'll see. All right, position binding and role swapping. So this is for trolls who grief champion select. We're making some small but important changes to the jungle and support roles. Jungle will be auto-assigned smite, and only 1 smite will be allowed per team. Thank you. In a similar vein, support players will now automatically be given World Atlas as a starting item. This shouldn't impact gameplay, but we think it'll lead to less trolling and pre-game mistakes that cost you the game before it's even started. Yes, I can't tell you how many times I have left a champion select and felt like we have 2 supports or 2 smites and things people just forget. Really annoying. I would also like them to see a potential auto-assigned jungle item, like the way they do with Trinket. If you don't select one, they just auto-assign you one, because it feels really bad when you leave base without your jungle item and you just forgot. But whatever. To make sure we can arrange your team in light of these new rules, we're adding the ability to swap roles with other players in Champion Select. That's cool. We're also taking this time to break out some of our lane swapping rules and attach them to the support specifically. No longer will laners be directly penalized because Pyke walked across the lane after a late invade. Lissandra can freely roam top for a level 3 gank without removing hundreds of experience. However, we're still retaining some of the old functionality to prevent situations like Sion and Kai'Sa dual laning top. Okay. So this doesn't affect solo queue in any way. This is only for pro play. So detection requires there to be a jungler on the team. Detection is still active. In the same time, the defending champion still receives all the gold, 50% less damage, blah, blah, blah. Non-supports no longer receive reduced gold and XP. Cool, so you don't get griefed. Supports in mid and top lane when accompanied by another champion now receive no gold or XP and cannot consume World Atlas. 1000% increased turret damage. Okay, cool. This doesn't change solo queue at all. Except they did fix like the potential like 1 in 1000 game where something would happen like this, but this doesn't affect solo queue at all. Death screen. We're making some small improvements to the death screen to make League's lowest moments slightly less memorable. I spend so much time on gray screen. We've added a tiny bit of color and a spectate UI. That's cool. To click around and see what's going on in the map. Your normal camera controls and hotkeys still work. Sweet. Kill streak sound effects. The kill streak sound effects discussed in the last dev update still need a bit more time. Okay. I like the death screen update. Player behavior updates. Oh, we'll see. Griefing detection upgrades. We're releasing significant upgrades to in-game griefing detection in ranked games with patch 25.09. Okay, check out the blog for more details. Participating in a match where your teammates aren't playing to win or are intentionally playing to lose is miserable and unacceptable. Yeah. We will detect and action on more subtle behaviors that aren't just running down mid lane and dying 20 times. Very interesting. I really hope this succeeds. I strongly stand by the belief that the biggest problem with League of Legends is the community, not the game, not the devs, not the balance, not the company. It is the community. People are awful and negative and hateful. Yeah. Hopefully this helps. Feedback specificity. To demonstrate follow-through on the above and to better close the loop with you when you're affected by negative behavior, we'll be providing the name of the penalized player when you receive feedback about your reports. Yes, name and shame. When a player that you reported is penalized for any recent match, the notification you receive will now include the name of the player. When a player you did not report was penalized for the match you played with them, the notification you receive will now include the name of the penalized player. Yes. Chat restrictions now apply in Champion Select and post-game chat in addition to in-game. Yes! Oh, this is going to be so fun. Taunting people who are muted. Love to see it. Great. That won't be me. I'm Honor 5, by the way. Summoner's Rift Ranked Season 2. So Ranked Season 2. Season 2 of Ranked will start April 30th at noon, according to your local server time, as stated in 25.08. Patch notes, Season 2 2025 will not reset your rank progression and will not require placement games. Victorious missions, however, will be reset, requiring 15 ranked games. That means it's live now. Ranked queues will be disabled during the season cooldown hours, which will be April 29th at midnight to April 30th at noon local server time. Okay, which means it's live now. You can expect Season 1 rewards to be granted during the patch cycle. As a last note, shard transfer services will be disabled. Whatever. Cool. So overall, like I said, it's kind of like a preseason. They have done a lot of changes to the map. The Void objective changes are going to be big. The Atakhan changes are going to be big. And beyond that, it's kind of just system changes. Like the bounty changes, I think could be big, especially the team gold disparity one. And we'll see how those work out, but like overall, they're not reworking jungle, they're not reworking dragons, they're not reworking items, so it's not like a total preseason. And then I like what they're doing with the behavioral changes. I like what they're doing overall. I'm excited to see how it works. Let's get into champions though. So starting out strong, we have Annie. I have heard about this. Annie released weaker than intended. Specifically during her early game, we're looking to amplify her identity as a burst mage, ease her laning phase, and reduce her mana cost, which has been a pain point as of late. They're really pushing to have Annie be strong. I don't like this change. I don't think Annie really functions as a champion in Modern League. This is the second pretty sizable buff they've given her, and now they're giving her 10 to 30 extra damage on her Q, and they're lowering the mana on her W, and they're giving you more magic pen, 5% more magic pen on your R. This might make her good, but Annie is really just a stat check and, again, doesn't fit into Modern League. I don't see Annie having a place anywhere outside of support, and she could be good at support, but I don't think she'll ever be good mid lane. There are just champions who are better than her at doing what she does. And, you know, champions like Annie and Malzahar and Lissandra, just, they don't really do it anymore. You know, they used to do it, they don't do it. And then the only way they will succeed is if they're a little overtuned, which we'll find out if this does that for Annie. Next, we have Ashe. Ashe is a touch weak right now, so we're adding some power to her mid-late game teamfights to help her thrive in cases where she finds space and time to focus on her targets. So the AD ratio on her Q is gone up it's down at level 1, but ends up being 5% higher, and the bonus attack speed ends up being 10% higher. Q max Ashe might be nice. Even for W max Ashe, this will be nice at level 13. I don't think this will make a big difference. Ashe's issue isn't this. Ashe has a lot of other issues. She's a utility ADC with no mobility, and yeah, like it's hard to exist as a champion with no mobility, especially as an ADC in a world where do I even need to list out every champion in the game who's going to stomp you? Anyway, skipping down to Gwen. Wow, skipping a lot of champions. Gwen is still strong. As a new surge of Gwen players have gotten better at her, the apparent rise in mastery has been offsetting some of our recent nerfs, as she's still one of the strongest champions of the game and the single strongest one in jungle. We're delivering some more nerfs to keep up with how well you are playing her. So the armor growth is down by 0.3, which does hurt, and then the passive monster damage cap is nerfed. Your AP damage is nerfed. This definitely affects how quickly you do objectives. It doesn't really affect camps that much. But it does. Like, camps just aren't a problem. Wow, more changes in our Q. Damage per snip AP ratio is down to 2%, and the maximum damage, I guess it's just times 6, yeah, is 45% AP. Wow. Wow, that's 3 nerfs. Oof, her damage is way down. I mean, I don't know. Gwen has been really, really strong, but does she deserve this big of a nerf? It seems like they don't want Gwen in the meta right now. She is getting 3 nerfs at once. That's crazy. K'Sante, still OP. K'Sante has been quite sad in solo queue recently and has very little presence of pro due to a particular AP tank busting top laner. And this patch will be buffing his W rank up incentive slightly to better even out the discrepancy between maxing W and E second. In addition, we're updating his default item shop page to now show more tank items, which should help avoid non-optimal itemization choices. Wow, who's building non-tank? Okay, so his W damage is up by 5 to 45. Interesting progression. I don't really think this will change K'Sante. This champion, sure, maybe he's not in pro play, but like, is that good? Is that okay? Like, can we be okay with that? Like, this champion is crazy, and yeah. But it's almost Pride Month, so maybe we should buff K'Sante more. Kalista. Kalista is experiencing a very high ban rate in Pro due to her recent strong early game and the ability to enable her support pairings. These changes are targeted to significantly reduce her early game strength while granting some compensation to her power level throughout the game. Health down 20, AD down 2, 80 growth up a little bit, and then her E damage is down by 5 per rank. Yeah, that makes her much worse in the time that she's supposed to be strongest. 20 less health, less AD early. Well, I mean, at like, it's 0.75, so it ends up evening out at level 4. But yeah, Kalista's really, really strong levels 1 through 4, so this makes her weaker levels 1 through 4. Good luck. That sucks. Pro play, I mean, like, pro play is just really taking some champions down. K'Sante, Kalista, Leona, what are they doing to her? Leona is falling slightly behind her Tinky Sport counterparts, and we think some slight adjustments to her mana, especially in early game, should help. Yes. Additionally, we think her allies should feel that they have leeway using her passive on minions or champions, so we're increasing its duration a tad. Okay, 2.5 seconds, that's really nice. And then the mana cost on her Q is down, nice. And the mana cost on her E scales, nice. This is really good. Oh my god, I saw Morgana. Wow, this is great. This is a great way to buff. I really think a cool way to buff Leona is to buff her passive. One thing that's really annoying about bot lane is when the support 1v1s you. It just feels bad. It's annoying that they can do it. It's annoying that they have the damage to do it in their kit. So I really, really like the idea of like Leona enabling her teammates to do more damage. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's cool that Leona's passive is going to be longer, and I think buffing her passive in this way is a good buff. I also think the mana changes are nice. Morgana, finally! Morgana has fallen behind in terms of power in all of her roles, you don't say. Currently, her ultimate doesn't quite give her enough mobility to prevent her opponents from escaping, so to help her lock down her targets, we're giving her ult more power and a stronger black shield to incentivize playmaking and increase the success. So we got 20 extra strength on her black shield, and we get 25 damage on her R, and 10% bonus movement speed that scales down. I mean, it's nice. I don't think this E change will really matter. There's very few champions that I feel like the shield strength comes into consideration for, but you never know. It'll help with Mage's bot lane. And then the R movement speed is nice, but not that big of a deal. And the 25 damage is nice. Morgana. Give her a passive. Give her a passive, Riot. Okay? Let's figure it out together. Call me. I know. I'm the Morgana main of the world. I know. Let me know when you want to talk. I'm here. Naafiri. W cooldown increase early, E 80 ratio. This is my favorite champion right now, besides Morgana. The dog's mastery curve continues to climb as players learn the limits of her new kit. We're targeting generic nerfs to her in both roles, but looking to maintain her as a viable in both jungle and mid. Turns out a lot of you know what the dog doing. So the W cooldown is up by 4 seconds early. This is the last skill you max, so that's a big deal. And the E dash damage is down by 10% bonus AD. That's also kind of a big deal, but a lot of her damage comes from her dogs and her bleed on her Q. So, I mean, the damage from her E kind of sucks. The cooldown on the W is fair. Yeah, I think Naafiri will still be fun and good to play. You'll just have to play around your W a little bit more. I think her W is her most powerful ability. Yeah, this is a fair nerf. Orianna has hit a point where she's in need of a small buff. Her mana costs are among the most painful in the game, so we're looking to address that by allowing her to cast her most spammable spell slightly more often. Q mana cost is 35 at all ranks, sure. Orianna's fair. Rengar, I hate this champion. We've done a pass on Rengar's recommended items for top and jungle, prioritizing items that perform better. Okay. Shen, empowered Q, damage increase. They love Shen. This is the third buff in a row. We're happy with recent Shen buffs directionally, but they haven't quite hit the magnitude we're looking for. We've given him more utility, but what he needs now is more damage to actually fight it out in lanes. It's time to bring it back. So his Q damage, max health damage is up. Wow. That's a nice buff. It's a lot of damage. He gets 3 of those, by the way. Alright, Yorick. This champion is super frustrating. Hate him. Another patch, another Yorick change. Look, we're just going for thematically resonant changes at this point. After all, he can't die. We're looking to reduce his power level in the jungle as he's a bit overboard. Yep. Mistwalker damage to monsters. 70 to 60. Okay. Sure. Nerf him. Annoying. These are good changes. Pinged abilities. Cho'Gath and Nunu can ping their smite-like abilities to display their damage. Cool. We're extending the custom ability ping to Cho'Gath's Feast and Nunu's Consume. When these abilities are off cooldown, players can ping them to display their damage to monsters. Cool. Very, very nice. Fun quality of life change. Finally, we get to the items that they said they were going to change. Boots of Swiftness. The move speed is down by 5. Boots of Swiftness are a bit overpowered relative to other boots, leading to champions zipping around combat more than we'd like. Ultimately, we're going with a small, direct nerf that should keep it in line with other boot options. 5 move speed is kind of a big deal. I think other boots get 40 move speed, 45 move speed. This, I mean, it hurts. Symbiotic Souls. Symbiotic Souls are a solid option for supports, which we're very happy about, but they're too game warping for laners, as the empowered recall lets them quickly reset every few waves, removing all sense of attrition. So we're making some adjustments to retain their power for roaming around the map, but make them worse for spamming recall. So new now grants 10 out of combat movement speed. That's something. And no longer grants empowered recall. I don't know how I feel about this change. The empowered recall was like the cool part of Symbiotic Souls. You've essentially just turned them back into mobility boots, which will go back to never being bought by anyone except for the roaming Alistar Thresh Pikes of the world, or like your random Quinn or Ivern, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is a good change. I think you should have tried to tackle it in another way, like maybe only when they transform they get the empowered recall. I don't like that. I don't like this. Maybe, does the transformation still get Empowered Recall? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, it's not my favorite change. Rod of Ages. Rod of Ages' new build path has made it overtake Mage mana itemization, and as a result, its high durability has slowed down champion interactions below what we think makes for the best gameplay. We think as a whole, mages are rather balanced, and we tend to ship a larger pass on mage itemization to make sure all AP items are worthy of purchasing in an upcoming patch. But right now, we want to tap the newly popular Rod of Ages to make sure bursty champions can attack more normal-sized health pools. So the health is down 50, the max health is down 50, the ability power is down by 5. I don't know if this is going to nerf it enough. I think they're going to have to buff other items up, but I think this is a good start. But I still think people are going to buy this item in conjunction with Riftmaker and Leandries. It's just too much health. It's too much safety. It's too much forgiveness. It really, really invalidates a lot of your losing lanes, like those Zeds and other champions that you lane against that feel really tough, because they could kill you at any moment, especially if you get poked down a tiny bit. You don't die anymore when you get Rod of Ages, so I don't think that's going to change because of the 50 health. But again, hopefully they buff other items so they feel better. Tier 3 boot upgrades. Feats of Strength have 2 rewards: immediate power in the form of triumphant boot upgrades and the option to later purchase Tier 3 boots. Over time, as we've seen players optimize the feat system, it's become apparent that having the option to upgrade to Tier 3 boots generally isn't useful, as they are mostly too weak for the cost. True. We've held off on buffing them as we didn't want to inject significantly more overall movement speed into the game, but with a rework to Swift March and some small changes to the other Tier 3 boots, we're moving the system to a place where Tier 3 boots can be made more competitive with other options. So, Armored Advance, down 250 gold. Love this. Oh my god, spending 750 gold on like 10 movement speed did not feel good. So it looks like all the boots are going down 250 gold in cost, and the Forever Forward are getting nerfed, and the Magic Pen on Spellslinger shoes is down 1%. That's not that big of a deal. And Swift March no longer gets you 4% movement speed, but against Adaptive Force. That's very cool. And the move speed's down 5, like the other boots. I think this is a great change. Yeah. I like feats in the game. I like upgraded boots. I like Tier 3 boots. It has felt really awkward to buy them, especially if you didn't go one of the defensive boots or Magic Pen boots. Like, upgrading your attack speed boots didn't feel good. Swift March was really the best boots in the game, and then, I don't know, sometime a few months ago, you just kind of stopped upgrading your boots until, like, you randomly had enough gold to buy them. Like, you wouldn't prioritize them unless you had the defensive boots. But these are nice. I like the 500 gold change. Good. Good. Summer spells. What? In the Eternal Ignite versus Teleport debate, Ignite has come up on the losing end as of late. What? It's a bit underpicked, so we're giving it a meaningful buff to its late game damage. Oh. Oh, I see. They mean, okay, for top and mid. Okay, interesting. I see what they're trying to do. They want champions who take Ignite to not feel like they automatically lose the game later. I don't know if this damage is going to do it. It's not enough, you know what I mean? Maybe it needs a little more, but whatever. Cute change. Runes, biscuits. Yep, everyone hates these. Biscuits are intended to be a lane sustain tool with some decision making around their optimal usage, but the current state highly rewards saving them until as late in the game as possible and using them as close to death as possible. Some decision making is desirable, but we don't love the hold for mid-game skirmish strategies or how pushed the power of biscuits are when the user is extremely low. So we're taking a swing at both these. So the health restoration is 12% of missing health over 5 seconds to 20 plus 2% of maximum health, increased by up to 100% based on the user's missing health. So it could be 4% of maximum health. Okay. Yeah, good nerf. Cool. Biscuits are annoying. Unflinching. Among the others, options in its drawer, Unflinching is competing with a scaling rune and a kit-bound rune. In order to make it make sense in this slot compared to other options, we're shifting it to be an early game skewed counter option. So the bonus armor in MR when you get CC'd is 10. I don't know. What did old Unflinching used to, like, give you tenacity when you were CC'd or something like that? Or, like, when there are champions around you? Maybe it gave you, like, a shield, or I forget what old unflinching. There are like lots of iterations of this. This version feels useless. What is giving you 6 armor and MR? Ew, that's nothing. I'm not taking this, and you know I'm still not taking it. I mean, well, maybe on support, but like, oh god, unflinching feels bad. ARAM, I love ARAM. I'm not reading this. ARAM's annoying. Rotating game modes and arena changes. Okay, I don't care about it. Arena. What is this? Something. I'm not reading all this. Prestige, Spirit Blossom, Lux. I still can't believe that was Lux. In the past, we talked about our dedication to bring a higher quality feel to prestige skins by exploring a range of design choices. As Spirit Blossom is one of our most resonant and beloved thematics, it's no surprise we didn't miss the chance to go deeper into the thematic side and really push the beautiful spiritual visual effects and materials. We feel like touches like Lux's hand-animated flowing sleeves and the pearl and crystal motifs really bring that prestige feel, but we want to hear what you think as we continue to experiment. Let us know. Okay. Bug fixes, don't care. Oh god, there's too many. And so we have the upcoming skins and chromas. Let's check these out. So starting out, we have Spirit Blossom Bard. I think this skin looks pretty cute. I like his meeps in the skin. I like his hat. This is a good skin to me. I like the Spirit Blossom line, and I like this line specifically. Next up, we have Spirit Blossom Zyra. I think this skin is pretty good. I'd like to see it in game. I like how she looks, but they made her human, which I don't stand, but the pink looks good. The colors look good. Next up, we have Spirit Blossom Varus. I guess it's evil Spirit Blossom now. I don't know that Varus looks like this. They made him muscular with a 6-pack and abs and pecs. Sure, whatever. He should be a twink with no muscle definition. But, you know, we don't like realism here in Riot games. Everyone is muscular and crazy. But the skin looks good. I like the horns. I like the little tie-off rope thing. It's cute. Then we have the Uncanny Ivern skin. It's fine, I guess. They give him an earring because he's gay. Sure. Then we have the Spirit Blossom Ashe. I like the skin. I like her bow. I like her face. I like the crown. I think the skin looks really, really cute. I hope to see the in-game visuals, but the splash art looks great. We have evil Spirit Blossom Aurelia. I think the skin is gorgeous. Also with the horns. Super, super pretty. The purple and white and the dark tones of the Spirit Blossom universe really show out here. It's great. And then we have the Prestige Lux skin, which I did not even recognize as Lux, and I'm looking at this now and I still don't recognize it as Lux. If you took the wand away and asked me to name this champion, I would fail. But anyway, here we are. She looks gorgeous. I love her sleeves. I love her skirt. She looks great. This is a great skin. And finally, we have Pool Party Twitch, which is such a miss. Oh my god, Riot. You couldn't give this character 6-pack and abs and show off his body and have him in a swimsuit. Like, what are you afraid of? Huh? Not impressed, Riot. Anyway, that wraps up pretty much everything about the patch. I am really, really excited. They did a few champion buffs and nerfs. I think Gwen and Naafiri and Yorick kind of deserve a nerf, but I like Naafiri a lot. I'm sad. Kalista is suffering in pro play jail, and he's getting a buff. I don't know why. Ashe is getting a buff, which won't change much. Cassante won't change much. Leona's passive buff is really nice, and the Morgana buff is okay, I guess. But I really want to see bigger changes to Morgana, either like pushing her into a role or giving her some passive or reworking her in some way. I don't know. Orianna changes fine, and Shen, they are obsessed with Riot. Oh my god, what is your obsession with Shen? The changes to boots are really cool. I like the reduction in cost. I like the nerf to Swifties. I don't like the nerf to Symbiotic Souls. I think Empowered Recall is cool, and they should have it on the evolved version. Unflinching won't matter. The Rod of Ages nerf is nice, but it won't matter until they buff other items. And the Biscuits nerf is nice. And on top of that, I think the new Summoner's Rift looks really, really pretty. I like this a lot. The colors are good. I think the new Atakhan is going to be interesting and high value, which I look forward to having on the map. I think the Void Grub change, where there's only one spawning instead of two spawning, and now it spawns at 8 minutes, is going to be an enormous change to jungle. I think jungle is going to change a lot because of this. There's only one early game objective, which means that you will not be able to trade objectives early game. Someone is getting an early objective on that dragon, and it is not both teams. This also changes how mid and support and top feel, because support and mid laners and top laners who had priority would frequently roam up to first Grubs and help out, and now that's not necessary. So now the champions who would get that priority will not have the same top lane control because the objective isn't there, so people won't be there. So things will change. The Rift Herald change is whatever. I think it's a lot of quality of life updates, as well as making it actually do damage, which finally, like, it never did damage. It wasn't really real. And yeah, the bounty changes are cool too. I think the change to have bounties be based on your overall team gold is great. As I was describing in my intro, I think one of the most frustrating things about bounties is when two teams have 1,000 gold shutdown people, and your 05 Jinx gets 1,000 gold, and then you and your team just totally snowball the game out of control, or it happens to that enemy team. When you have that 1,000 gold bounty on your head, it feels awful, especially if your team isn't ahead, because you feel like you're playing on a knife's edge, and the second you die, the game is over. And I've had that happen countless times. Even just yesterday, I feel like I was playing a Naafiri game where I was 12-3 and so powerful, and I died once and we just instantly lost the game over the course of the next 3 minutes. Like, we couldn't do one more thing on the map. They got everything, and that situation feels awful. So hopefully this will alleviate some of that pain. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to season 2 with IONIA, and I hope you all are too. Let me know what you think.